So we're going to discuss some summertime grind, I guess you could say, or whatever, when it comes to UNC and everything. We're going to talk about it with my guy, Isaac Schade, on 94 Feet of UNC.
Gordy to Black. The time, 18. Shot, Jordan! Michael Jordan!
Swicker with the defense and the rebound. That's a good effort by Swicker.
Stackout streaking in on Parks. Rebound stock is good, and he gets fouled by Parks. Oh my goodness, what a dunk by Stackout.
Interesting that he brought him back so quickly, but you know what? They're down the it's very You can't teach that high-rising ability. 3. And Green rips down the rebound in traffic. 4-on-1. Great job. What a terrific job in transition. I mean, you could.
The glass no good. Rebound followed by Hansgrove. Good! Carolina.
Inside 30 overall. Love, top of the key.
Alice, the bounce is over. Carolina. The Tar Heels have won the national championship.
And that is it. There is a new team in college basketball. North Carolina takes the title. Happen any final. North Carolina is the 2009 national champion. And this year, the confetti is going to fall to North Carolina. They're not going to be denied this time.
What's up, everybody? You are tuned in to the 94 Feet of UNC podcast. As you can see, my guy is hyped. He is hyped for sure. This is my guy, Isaac Schade, in the building with me today. I'm your host, Mr. Lindsay Graham, of course. I appreciate all the love and support from everybody. Make sure that you all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and follow me on my socials, on Twitter, on Instagram, at 94 Feet of UNC. Real quick, make sure that you all come join a great community, as Isaac already knows. Like, he's a part of it as well, as much as I'm a part of his. The 94 Feet of UNC Discord. That link is in the description. Great community. We talk all things UNC. So make sure you come on over and join it, man. It's free to join. So come on over, man, and have some conversations with us. Also, real quick, 94 Feet of UNC merchandise is out. Got some shirts, of course. You know, this is in navy. And then, you know, it also comes in black. But we got Carolina blue. We got white. We got gray. Whatever you want. We got mugs. We got drink containers. We got it all. Got some Chapel Bills shirts, of course. It's football season coming around right around the corner. So jump out there, get you some gifts for the girlfriends, for the wives, for the kids, for family, friends. It doesn't matter. Just jump out there and support, man. Love is support. Support is love, man. So I appreciate everybody. That link is also in the description as well. My man, Isaac Schade from Locked On Tar Heels is in the building. Real quick, before we get into things, just if you haven't already, make sure you go on over to the Locked On Tar Heels, of course. Subscribe to the channel. Isaac is killing the game right now. I mean, he's top of the top. I'm trying to get to his level, everybody. So, but me and him, we just did an amazing episode. What was it? It was the Decades draft.
We did a Decades draft. Yeah.
Decades draft that me and him just did or whatever. Kind of tapped into some things, and you know, hey, listen, Isaac, I put a poll out. You won the poll, man. You won the poll. I put it in the Discord, and you know, a lot of people was like, listen, I got to go with Isaac's team on this one. So, but you know what? Both teams were great, you know, and I think we did an amazing job. So big shout out to you for that. I might have to send you a 94 Feet of UNC sticker or something for that, for the W, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, for sure. So, but listen, Isaac, today I just want to kind of discuss a couple of things with you, man, just to get your viewpoints and perspective on things in regards to roster construction. How do you feel about it? How well do you think North Carolina did in the portal, and, you know, just with all of the pieces that we got coming in or whatever? So I was thinking maybe break it down by the returnees, the freshmen, and then we'll delve into the transfer, the portal guys or whatever. So how do you feel about that?
Man, that sounds great. Excited to get it going.
By the way, introduce yourself, man. My apologies.
That's all good. My name is Isaac Schade. I am the host, as Lenzel said, of the Locked On Tar Heels podcast. There's a network called Locked On Podcast Network that's a part of. And then I also co-host Locked On College Basketball with Andy Patton, who is the host of Locked On Gonzaga. And so we do that show all 5 days of the work week as well. It's an absolute blast. I love my Tar Heels. I love college basketball. I just love sports and love getting to be part of, as Zell does, telling the stories of these young men and women that play these games that we love and bringing that into your ears and in front of your eyeballs as often as I can. So, man, it's an absolute joy.
And listen, what I love about it, Isaac, is the fact that you and Andy, y'all are on each coast.
That's right.
Like, so y'all catch everything in the middle, in between. Right. Him being on the West Coast with Gonzaga and you on this end of things. Like, listen, I love it, man. I love it, and I love what you guys are doing or whatever. The only thing that I got against you, Isaac, is you a Braves fan.
It's okay because we suck this year. So
listen, I've been catching a lot of flack for my Yankees. So
they're on a bad losing streak right now too, aren't they?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So a lot of people have been getting on me in the Discord about it.
Well,
man.
I tell you what, Lenzel, we did you a solid and we beat the Mets on Tuesday night. So there you go.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Like, listen, I don't understand how people can be a Mets fan, but that's neither here nor there. So it's all good. It's all good. So, Isaac, let's jump right into things, man. Like, so as we all know, this team basically has been from last season was, I don't know if I want to use the word dismantled, but dismantled basically. Like, everybody is gone pretty much that we had last season. So, but we do have a couple of returnees with Seth Trimble and James Brown, and I'll even throw Zayden High in there because he's already played a season at least. But you know, for whatever reasons, you know, last season he wasn't a part of the team. So, how do you feel about as far as the returnees, and what are you looking forward to?
You know, it's so interesting, Lenzel, in the portal era. It feels like in Coach Davis's tenure, it's been like up and down each year of how many they bring back. You know, you think about how poorly the 2022-23 season went when Carolina missed the tournament. And there was an exodus, a dismantling, like you said, that offseason. And the coaching staff brought in all the right pieces, and then they turned into a 1 seed. Well, you bring several guys back, and then last year was topsy-turvy, and now we have another offseason where it's, as you said, pretty much dismantled. And so hopefully, once again, they've got in the right pieces to make it work. In terms of the guys coming back, you know, Seth, I think was having a really, really strong year. And there's a pretty clear demarcation line in last season, Zell, between pre-head injury Seth and post-head injury Seth, right? Like before he got hurt, he was shooting 38.5% beyond the arc. And then for the season wound up being like 29 or 26, something like that. And so there's a lot of that with which Seth Trimble are we getting this year? Let's remember the exhibition game at Memphis when RJ had gotten hurt in the blue-white scrimmage and Seth went off. And then for the first, you know, however, 12 games or whatever it was before he got hurt, was doing great stuff. So I think we're going to see another strong Seth. There's great shooting around him. We'll get to that in a little bit. But if he's in the right place doing the things that he does so well, I think he should probably be a 12 to 15 points a game scorer. But it's really what Carolina needs is his athleticism and defensive prowess, and then just getting out in transition and doing work. With James Brown coming back, I think it's another year where he's not making a massively critical impact on the floor. But we saw at times last year where he was having a positive locker room impact, right? Where he was a voice speaking up when there was kind of a leadership void. And I'm hopeful he'll play a few minutes. And then Zayden High coming back, you know, he brings some good energy. There were some really good team moments that he brought, and hopefully him stepping back in can have an impact, probably primarily 5 to 10-ish minutes a game at the 4. We'll see what he does. And I think if he comes back and kind of forces his way onto the floor, that's where he can have an impact.
Yeah. Listen, I'm pretty much right there with you. My only thing that I would have against Seth, pretty much all around game, he already has as far as his defense. He could get downhill, get to the basket. So I mean, of course, and a great free throw shooter as well. My only thing that I have that he has to do better is shoot better. If you're gonna be like we know as fans, shooting guards, when you sit back and you think about them, Shammond Williams, Donald Williams, Wayne Ellington, Joe Forte. And the list could just go on and on. Well, what did all of them have in common? They were great shooters, and especially at the 2 spot. And my thing is, Seth, if Seth's going to be in that position, then, hey, you got to be able to shoot the basketball. So I'm hoping that he is working on that during the offseason for sure, because I know a lot of people say I'm crazy, but I want him to be around between 35, 37%. That would be great. That would be
Ideally.
absolutely great.
Yep.
I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, he shot 29, 28 or something like that last season. So that's got to come up. That's got to come up. And he could definitely go ahead.
I'm wondering because, a lot of those shooting guards we're talking about, it's like they had point guards, a lot of them that were more distributors. And one of the interesting things, and I know we're not getting to the transfers yet, but Kyan Evans is such a dynamic 3-point shooter, as will be Luka Bogovac when he gets to campus, that I got to imagine that's going to take a lot of the attention off of Seth from an outside threat. And that opens up more open threes for him. And so I think that 35 to 37 that you talked about, I think is very doable. But like you said, obviously he's going to be in the lab working on it this summer. I think he was doing it last summer. And it's just, again, I think the injury derailed a lot of that. So I expect him to be able to hit that, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I want him to do. Now, as far as James Brown, listen, I tell everybody all the time, like, we all know that phrase, iron sharpens iron. And when you think about it, last season, James Brown didn't help Jalen Washington, and Jalen Washington didn't help James Brown, like, as far as getting better, if you ask me, because, I mean, Jalen Washington in the Ole Miss game got pushed around. Let's just say he got bullied. And, my thing is now with this season, James Brown actually has a actual bigger defender and a couple of other bigger defenders that now he can really go up against in practice and get better with his game, with his rebounding, shot ability, blocks, any and everything, basically, because now you're actually going up against a true center who is 7'2", if I'm not mistaken. And that's going to do nothing but make him better in practice. So I think he might, I mean, his numbers and minutes might be a little bit limited, but I think that he can definitely be very productive on the court. And as you said, he's very vocal. So that's an extremely good thing. I mean, he was very vocal last year, if not the most vocal. So that's definitely going to play a part. And then as far as Zayden High, I mean, we saw what he did last season during the summer games, being able to stretch the floor a little bit. He could shoot the 3. We've been hearing a lot that he's been working out a lot throughout the summer during his off time with the team and everything. So I'm excited to see what he also is going to be able to bring to the table when it comes to this year's team. So very interesting. I like the front court that we have, though. I definitely like the front court we have. So it's going to be interesting for sure. So moving on to the freshmen, Derek Dixon, Isaiah Dennis, and of course the big man that the big 5-star, Mr. Caleb Wilson. What do you think about it? How do you feel about him?
Yeah, what's nice is it is the mixture of this trio is kind of what you're looking for in this day and age, right? You want at least one really, really elite top end freshman to come in. And obviously Carolina got that in Caleb Wilson. It was he was the last one on the board for that opportunity, but they got him, and that's all that matters, right? And then you've got 2 guys in Zay Dennis and Derek Dixon who are both like in that 50s range that you look at as probable guys that, you should be able to keep them around for a couple of years, hopefully 2 to 3 years. I mean, gosh, again, you don't know in this portal era, but that's kind of the balance that I'm always looking for, is 1 or 2 top flight elite dudes, and a couple that are hopefully multi-year guys. What I want to say about Caleb Wilson is so often people just assume, top end guy must be a walking bucket. Like we're talking Kobe White, right? Like I think that's a great example of it.
Right.
Caleb Wilson can score, but it's not like you're not expecting him to come in and lead Carolina in scoring next year. He could, and he will get buckets, but like it's what's so special about Caleb is his ability to do a whole bunch of things, right? Mm-hmm. One of the things he's most well known for is when he made a decision in high school, I'm going to be a plus defender, and he is. His ability to run, his length, all of these things. And so with Caleb Wilson, don't just think walking bucket. Think about everything he brings to the team in totality. And I just want to reframe how people often tend to think about those 5-star players.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I think Caleb Wilson is definitely going to play of course, a major role, major factor on the team. He's going to get a lot of attention just because of his size, his athleticism. He's trying to be like, I think he might be able to guard 1 through 5, possibly, especially 1 through 4. I mean, because everybody already has him starting at the 4 position. I might have a little pushback on that, but that's me. I'm always jumping off the ledge by myself, and that's fine. Like, or whatever. I do think that he's going to contribute for sure. Just his all around talent is going to play a major factor with this team as far as their success and how far they go. Dennis, I think he's more of he is a bench piece. But if you need him, he'll be available. But I think he's still more of a development player. Whereas his sophomore year might be dangerous in his sophomore year more so than his freshman year. And then you got Derek Dixon. I mean, pure shooter. If I'm not mistaken, best player out of the state, coming from the DC area. I could be wrong about that, but I mean he's up there. I do know that for sure. But just his ability to be able to, he can run the point at times if we need him to. A lot of people are saying that, he's a shooting guard. Well, I mean, he's listed as a combo guard. So if you're a combo guard, then that means you can run a little bit of point too. So I think, to give Cayenne a little bit of rest and things like that, then you bring him in, he can shoot. He's got some height. He's probably going to get a little stronger. And he has a good feel for the game. So I like Dixon, and I mean, we just got so much scoring on this team this year, which is going to be so exciting, man. So I'm excited for the freshmen. I really am. I can't wait to see how all of it gels together. To be honest with you. So, but let's get to the meat and potatoes of the team, I guess you could say. 6 transfers. I don't think that has never happened. There is no, I don't think, but that has never happened at UNC. But we got Cayenne Evans, Jonathan Powell, Luka Bogovic, Henry Vazar, Jaren Stevenson, and Jaden Young. And I mean, how do you feel about this? What do you think?
Well, here's the thing. I've tried to continue saying I'm also, you were talking about the numbers. I'm trying to think how many were in that 23 incoming class, because it was a Okonkwo, it was who else? Harrison, Cormac, Jay Witt,
and Wojcik, Paxson. So 5, So just those 5. Anybody else? No, I'm thinking. Yeah. So this would be more than that. What's interesting is I think both nationally and maybe some within the Carolina fan base, I think there's some sleeping on these guys, because you've got a name like in Henry Vazar, for example. It's like, the big man that everybody around the country wants, and it's like, yes, we got this guy. He's a name, but I like kind of ahead. Just because he doesn't have a name doesn't mean he doesn't have game. And I mean that about some of the other players, like Cayenne Evans, for example, who I think a lot of people probably just don't
not as many watched the Mountain West Conference or didn't
Right.
see Colorado State, or if they did, they saw Neat Clifford and they're like, wow, he's a dude.
Right.
While Kyan Evans was a massive part of helping them have that, right? Like if the refs call that travel on Derek Queen in that Maryland game, Colorado State's advancing on to the second weekend of this tournament. And so there's just a lot there that guys like Kyan Evans, Jonathan Powell, I think Jaden Young, for example, like these dudes, just because they're not household names doesn't mean they can't be the right pieces for Carolina. And obviously we've got to wait and see. That's part of the portal era. You got to wait to see how all the pieces actually fit together on the court. But I like what the staff did and who they went out and got. I like that they were proactive and figured out like, okay, yes, we're going to target this guy and we're going to go get him. Just because Carolina didn't land Boogie Fland or Donovan Dent, these top flight point guards that everyone wanted, doesn't mean that Kyan can't be a dude, right? And I think he absolutely can. I know, Jaren Stevenson kind of underwhelmed versus expectations at Alabama, but I think there's going to be something for him about coming home. You kind of hinted at, and I don't know if this is what you were hinting at, you're not sold on Caleb Wilson being a surefire starter. I think the power forward starting position battle between Jaren Stevenson and Caleb Wilson is going to be very interesting in the lead up to the season. And I'm curious what the staff does there with that. I think Jonathan Powell, goodness, I know he's just coming off his freshman year, but he shot 35% on like just shy of 6 attempts a game from beyond the arc for West Virginia last year. And so there's just a lot of stuff there. I think Jaden Young will have a nice role off the bench. I don't know how much he'll play. It's kind of a logjam there with the 2 freshman guys, Dixon and Dennis, that you talked about, Zell there. And so, again, another guy coming home playing for a team that he loves. I just think there's a lot of really good stuff to this incoming recruiting class, or to the portal class. And Bogovats, man, got to get him in, right?
Yep.
I know it's still there's paperwork and tape and all that has to happen. The sooner the better with him. I know he won't be there by the time camp happens next week, but hopefully by the time they go on their annual summer beach trip, that can happen, because that's so critical for team chemistry. But man, I think Kyan and Bogovats, those are your 2 dudes from beyond the arc who could both pop for 40% plus. Which would be critical for Carolina's success. So I really like the individual pieces of this portal class. It might not be the sexiest, it might not be the biggest names, but if it's the right pieces, that's more important than being sexy.
Yeah. Listen, I'm right there with you. And I am going to ask you your projected starting 5 here in a second. As far as breaking down the players, I love Vazar, 7'2". He takes up a lot of space. He really does. Like, when you look at him, he looks like he's just floating out there on the court just because of how big he is. He's very athletic. I guess my only concern would be, and like most people are, at Arizona, he played about 20 something minutes or a little over 20 minutes. Will he be able to handle the 30 minutes moving forward here with North Carolina? So, but with all of the other players that we have, I think that that's doable. And especially, with him having the injury that he ended up having, which I forgot what it was. But I think that that's, with all of these other players that we have, it's definitely going to be beneficial for him to be able to play as many minutes as he may need to moving forward. Jaren Stevenson, of course, I like Stevenson. Welcome home, of course. I love the fact that, he can play a little bit of 3. And of course he can play the 4 as well. He could be that stretch 4 if we need him to be, open up the lane a little bit for, maybe someone, if him and Caleb are on the floor together, then, Caleb and Kyan and whoever the 2 guard is or Seth, if it's Seth, can all get to the basket and get downhill. So I love that for him, of course. And like you said, he was kind of stagnant a little bit just because of the system that he was playing in with Nate Oates at Alabama. So, and from what I've heard, he's really showed out here lately or whatever. He's going to be like one of those guys to watch for. Who else did we got? Oh, you said Jonathan Powell. I love Powell. And one thing that I have learned in the beginning, I was a little hesitant about him, only because I was really basing things off of the numbers. And what I've learned is you can't just go off and base things off of the numbers anymore. Like, you got to actually look at the gameplay of these players or whatever, because sometimes those numbers don't equal up to the way that player plays, or their style, or what they're capable of doing. So I was a little hesitant about him, but I love that pickup because he's a great 3-point shooter. Like you said, he's played with stiff competition in the Big 12, if I'm not mistaken, because West Virginia is in the Big 12, correct?
Yep.
Yes. So he's played the Houstons, the Kansas, and some of these other teams in the Big 12. So, I mean, I don't think that's going to be an issue for him at all. Luka, I'm a little skeptical, just a little bit skeptical of Luka, because you gotta get with the team. Like, and the quicker you can get with the team, the quicker this team can gel together. And, of course, his game speaks for itself. Really good game, really good shooter. I mean, he has a pretty solid game, and he's older, so he has the experience. He's played professionally overseas. So I am looking forward to it. But, my thing is, you got to get with the team as soon as you can. And right now, I think he's in the finals or something overseas where he is. And I think they shortened that matchup, because I think it was the best out of 5, and now it's the best out of 3 series that he's playing in the championship game or finals or something like that. I heard that recently, that because of the fact it's going to help him get over here quicker, to my knowledge. So I got to fact check that and do a little bit more digging into it or whatever. But Kyan Evans, listen, he doesn't have the eye. He's not a floor general to me like Elliot Cadeau was, but he has everything else that Elliot Cadeau didn't have. So, but I think he has the potential to actually get what Elliot does have, as far as being a floor general, being able to see down the court, the insane passes. He could, like you said, he could light it up from the 3. So, of course, people don't look at the Colorado states, like you said, or whatever, because, they're like mid-major type teams and stuff, and people only really care about the big ones. They only care about the P5 type schools. So no attention like that or whatever. But I do think that's amazing pickup. There were some others out there that I would have liked to have as well, but I'm not mad at the Kyan Evans pickup. Jaden Young, he's my X Factor player. I'm going to be honest with you on this team next year. I just think, because of the fact he's a Carolina guy, it's his school where he always wanted to go. He's played in the ACC already. He's 6'4". He's probably the same size as Trimble, if not maybe a little bit bigger. And he solid defense, and he can shoot. I mean, he really can. Now, I mean, I know the numbers don't really show that again, but I mean, he can shoot. He really can. And a lot of us don't know that during the latter part of last season, when Carolina they had Virginia Tech on the schedule, and I do remember listening to some podcasts that, hey, you got to watch out for Jaden Young, because right now he's killing things right now. I think he was averaging like 19 points a game for like a certain stretch throughout close to the end of the season. So unfortunately, I mean, we shut him down, but when we played him, but it is what it is. So we didn't really get a chance to see his game like that, because I don't think he scored a lot of points, but he's my X Factor player.
Yeah. He had 12 against Carolina, but it was like 4 of 15 from the floor or something like that.
See, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, when you got people like Drake Powell probably defending you, I mean, hey, you put Powell on the best player on the opposing team, like as far as lockdown defense. So I get it. I mean, but 12 points is still 12 points too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and he had, to your point, Zell, he had double digits in Virginia Tech's final 6 games of the season, including 27 against Miami and 26, I think it was, against Syracuse in that stretch. Yeah. See. So I mean, the kid can play. He could put some points on the board, and
listen, if one thing about Coach HD, he is going. If you gonna show out in practice, you gonna play, and if you're not showing out in practice, you're not gonna play.
You're not gonna play.
But like he always say, be ready when your number is called, and Jaden's number is gonna get called quite a bit next season for sure, or this season coming up. So I like the portal class, and like you said, you don't have to, and I tell people all the time, to be a great team, you do not have to have the big name players. Big name players come with big dollars. That's just it. But if you get good players, you can create a great team with good players. Like, it's like the NBA. Like, you don't have to have the superstar player to be on a team like that. Each team got maybe one, maybe two nowadays. I mean, you look at OKC, they got SGA. You look at Indiana, they got Halliburton, like as far as your star players. So, I mean, hey, that's how I look at things. And that's the way college basketball is starting to transition to in regards to like being similar to the NBA. So we got to wait and see. So I'm interested though. I'm interested. I'm excited. I cannot wait for this upcoming season. So, let me ask you this. Your projected starting five.
Okay. As of right now, and I've got Kyan Evans at the 1. I just don't see another person who it makes sense to slot in there. That's like the no doubt brainer for me. On the other bookend of it is Henry Vesar, right? Like, obviously it's a big miss not having Van Allen Lubin as the backup 5. Let me specify that. I think he would have pushed Vesar a little bit, but ultimately Vesar would have been the starting 5. So those bookends are locked into me for Kyan and Henry. I fully think that because, as I was saying earlier, because you've got a 3-point shooter at the 1, I think that unlocks the ability to have Seth as your starting 2. And so because of everything he does, because of his veteran capability, because of the leadership we expect him to bring, Seth Trimble starting at the 2. So that's 1, 2, and 5. 3 and 4 is where it gets a little more tricky. I do think that as long as Luka can get to campus in time, get settled in with his team, he is your starting 3. At the 4, I expect Caleb Wilson to ultimately win out, but it wouldn't shock me if, on opening day on Monday, November 3rd against Central Arkansas, if Jaren Stevenson's your starting 4, it would not shock me in any way. But I'm going to, if you're asking me to name it, I'm going to go with Wilson. And then if Bogovats, either something happens and he never gets to, like things fall through with visas or whatever, or he's not able to get there in enough time to build the chemistry, then I would probably have Stevenson at 3, which gives you it's similar to last year when Carolina played Alabama and they had 3 6'11" guys at 3, 4, and 5 with Stevenson at the 3. I could see Carolina rolling that way. But if everything, if the roster projects the way it seems to be, I'm going Evans at the 1, Trimble at the 2, Bogovats at 3, Wilson at 4, and Vesar at 5.
Ooh, okay. So you ready for my starting 5?
Bring it. Let's have it.
It's very different, very different. All right. So again, just like you, the 1 and the 5 are locked with Kyan Evans and Vesar. I have at the 4, I have Jaren Stevenson. Okay. At the 3, I have Caleb Wilson. And at the 2, I have Jaden Young.
Okay.
a lot of people was like, boy, that's an odd one. Like, never heard that one. But I have the reasons why. Like,
yes, sell me on Young. I need you to sell me on that.
So again, with Jaden Young, if you go back, you look at the numbers that they, closer to the end of the season, they picked up quite a bit. And again, he might not be as solid as a defender as Trimble is, but he is a really good defender. He's 6'4". They're around the same size. He shoots a little bit better than Trimble does. He does. So I just, for some reason, I like him at the 2, and I think he's going to really surprise a lot of people this season. Like, I really do. I mean, everybody always go back and look at the numbers. And yeah, sometimes you can look at the numbers, but at the same time, like, he didn't pick up his numbers at the end of the season for no reason. Like he knew, like he was the man on that team. And I mean, those numbers they picked up, again, what was it? He was averaging 19, 20 points or whatever. And like you said, in 2 of those games, I think he scored over 20 points or whatever. Right. So, I mean, he's proven that. And again, he's played in a league already that he's very comfortable with. So if he shows out in practice, I can see him moving into that 2 spot. I mean, it's not too far-fetched. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen like that, but sure. I can see him possibly getting into that 2 spot. And I got Caleb at 3, and I know Stevenson can play the 3, but sure. I think Caleb is just a little bit more athletic than Stevenson is, and really he's probably even a better defender. But my thing is, okay, you put Isaiah Evans at the 3 on Duke. Well, you got Caleb Wilson, who's just as athletic as Isaiah is, if not more athletic. He can shoot. He don't have to be that go-to shooter or anything, but he can keep up with the 3. As far as if the 3 is going to move around on the baseline, and pop, pick and pop, whatever the case may be, he can switch. I think he's just a little bit more athletic than Stevenson is. And then again, put Stevenson at the 4. Let him be the stretch 4. Yeah. And I mean, again, that'll open up the lanes for your Seth Trimbles, your Cayenne. And if Caleb Wilson is playing the 3, it opens it up for them because Vazar can also step out and hit the 3 as well. Probably not efficiently like that, but he can step out and hit the 3. And you got him and Stevenson on both sides of the court. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster for opponents, to be honest with you. Yeah. So,
I mean, Vazar hit 32% from beyond the arc last year. That's better than Trimble. That's better than Jaden Young. I mean, it's better than both those guys. So, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, I like my starting lineup, but a lot of people is like, when they first hear it, they're like, well, yeah, you got to sell me on that one like you did.
Yeah, like I said, and I think for me, it's because like before we start seeing things and on paper, I would probably have Jaden Young as like 4th on my depth chart at the 2 with potentially, because I think Jonathan Powell can play 2 or 3. I think he's a 3 that can play down to 2. And then either or both of the freshmen would be a big battle. And so I think ultimately what the good news, Zell, is I love that there's so many answers at the 2, right? Like it feels like that's the biggest logjam on this team is maybe like the 2 and the 3, yes. where the biggest logjam is. And that's good news, right? With all, as let's zoom back out to roster construction conversation as a whole. Look at how much more size we have this year. And I think that is one of the biggest points of great news that these Tar Heels have, as opposed to when we look back at last year.
Hey, like they say, they say it with every team, but they said it with Duke last year, having a lot of players on your team, it's a pro and a con to it, but it's a good problem to have, but it's also, it could be a bad problem to have because somebody's not going to play. There's only one ball. There's only one plate for everybody to eat off of. So some people are just not going to get a lot of burn like that. And, but again, it's a good problem to have, but it's also,
we got to watch ego. Ego is going to be a big, right? Can I play my role? I think that'll be a big thing to watch with this team for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, like when you sit and think about it, when you mentioned the ego, and that plays a major part just because of the fact, I think just about every single one of the players on this team, besides maybe 2 of them, got edge and got grit to them. And that is something we did not have last season at all, besides James Brown. Like, so the egos plays a part in that being edgy and holding people accountable for their mistakes and things like that, to where, okay. And that's the reason why it's very important, because everybody has Luka locked in at the 3. And I tell people all the time, well, if Luka's not here, and right now these guys are practicing and playing with each other, they're gelling with each other, and then all of a sudden he comes in next month or a month and a half from now, whatever, you're just going to automatically give him the starting position. Like, just because he's coming from overseas doesn't mean you automatically get that spot. Like that, it just don't work like that. And when you get over here, now they got to change things up because they got to include you in on practices and see how well now all of y'all gel together. So
here's can I give you an example of that from a couple years ago? Absolutely. It's not Carolina, but Johnny Furphy playing in the NBA Finals right now for the Pacers, right? He blew up in the summer playing from Australia in those in the NBA Academy games, and came back. Kansas got him late in the summer, and it was like everyone projected that he would probably start or be close to it, and he didn't right out of the gate. But as the season wore on, Coach Self got him more and more and more minutes to where down the stretch, he was one of the dudes of that team that really needed shooting on the perimeter. And if Luka, to bring it back to Carolina, if it extends out throughout longer in the summer, it could be a very similar progression for him over the next season. So that's just a helpful example for me to think about.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very valid point. That's a very valid point. So I'm again, it's going to be very interesting to see how all of this plays out, just because, I mean, we as Carolina fans should be very excited for this upcoming season. Very excited. I mean, especially, with the ups and the downs that we've went through these past few seasons, but from that average type season, because I don't want to say bad season that we had last season. But I mean, we had an average type of season.
That's a good word.
Yeah. So I mean, and I've told everybody, even right when the season was ending, that look for a very exciting season upcoming for this season coming up, because there's going to be a lot of changes. And I was right. So I got to ask you just real quick, who's your X Factor player?
X Factor. Jaren Stevenson right now.
Okay.
And part of that for me is because I don't expect him to I don't expect him to be in the starting lineup right now. Mm-hmm. I think he's probably the sixth man though. But if, he has shot 30 and 31% from beyond the arc in his 2 years at Alabama. Mm-hmm. He's got all this size. He's got all this, top 15, top 20 player in the class potential that he came in. Remember, he reclassed. So really, he should be a sophomore this year.
That is correct.
A lot of people say he spurned Carolina. Let's remember, it was just a matter of spots. He wanted to reclass. Carolina's roster was full, so he went to Tuscaloosa.
Right.
Now he's where he belongs. And as you were saying about Jaden Young, man, I think that matters in a big way. And so whether he's in the starting lineup or not, I think his ability to be the player that we expected him to be coming out of high school could be the determining factor in how well Carolina does this year.
Yeah. And let's look at it from this point. Jaden Young was going to High Point from Virginia Tech.
That's
and
right.
High Point is North Carolina. So he was coming back home regardless. I mean, back to his home state. And look what happened. He ended up where he actually wanted to be and where he's always wanted to be and where he's a fan of. So that's same thing with Stevenson. I mean, right up the road, coming from the same high school that Drake came from. I mean, hey, those hometown players, they make a difference. They definitely make a difference because this is what they grew up on watching. So their mentality is a little bit different because they see it all the time, versus then somebody coming from the state of Iowa that, might catch one of the big games nationally on TV or something like that. So,
well, and for Stevenson, he's literally a legacy. Like his mom played for Carolina in basketball, right? And so it's more than just he grew up watching them. He was on campus, all of these things. It's a real thing.
Yeah. So I'm excited. So real quick, Isaac, I got to ask you something because I want to let me pull something up right quick. I want to see what you think about this. So I got this from a guy. What a coincidence. I got this from a guy named Isaac. What a coincidence. You know that guy?
I'm familiar with him. I've heard of him.
Oh, okay, cool deal. Then I hope he don't mind me using this. Then
I don't mind
think
at all.
he does, but yeah. So, but I want to get your thoughts on the non-con schedule,
Yeah, man.
and just real quick, and what you think about it.
Yes, for sure. First off, I need to send you. I've got a couple updates since that version of it that we're looking at right now. So let me update those kind of things in real time here. Number one, Kansas has recently put out their non-con schedule, and that game was initially announced as Friday, November 14th. It's now going to be Friday, November 7th. So same Friday as it was last year, where we played at Allen Fieldhouse the first Friday of the season. It's going to be that same thing. So initially announced as Friday the 14th as we have it there, but it is Friday the 7th. The other thing is that we also now know that the Kentucky game is going to be Tuesday of that week. So Tuesday, December 2nd. We know that for a fact now as well. Everything else we're up to date on. What I like about this schedule, Lenzel, I don't know about you. I thought Carolina bit off more than it could chew last year in the non-con, right? Like, you want to challenge yourself, but that was suicide, man. And great. Like, it's fun to see all those high-level matchups. And had Carolina been one or two plays better, maybe had Cade Tyson been what he was projected to be, had RJ Davis not been really slow out of the gate last year, I think Carolina probably would have won 2 or 3 of those games that they ended up losing, right? But I like the balance of this schedule better. It is because of dropping from 20 to 18 ACC games. Now we're going to get 13 non-con games. I like that it's almost split right down the middle between bye games and high major teams. I think it's a good mix of like Kansas, Michigan State, and Kentucky as being very difficult high major games. But then you've got Georgetown, Ohio State as kind of more like average high major games. You've got some of the mid majors that are a little tougher, some of them that are a little easier. As I always say, mid majors aren't created the same. You know, Some are ranked 100, some are in the 300. So we got to keep that in mind. But then we're also still waiting to see who's going to be that 13th and final non-con game, Zell. And I'm really curious if it will be another bye game, which would be like, if you count St. Bonaventure, even though that's Fort Myers tip-off, I think that would give them 8 bye games. Let me count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So including St. Bonaventure, that's essentially 8 bye game type games if it's a mid-major or low-major team. So I'm kind of hopeful that Carolina's 13th non-con game is like an average high major team, if that makes sense. I also like, let me say about the exhibition game, I love that being like, if you're going to play a murderer's row schedule, make one of them your exhibition game, because BYU, man, they're going to be legit. And it's not just because AJ DeBanza. They got a lot of good pieces. Rob Wright coming over from Baylor. And man, just several guys that make that team difficult. Also, it's insane to go play there at the elevation that Salt Lake City is at. And so there's that one. I'm curious to see who Carolina, because one more exhibition game we're waiting on to hear as well. So ultimately, I think big picture answer to a long-winded question is I like the balance of this non-con much better than last year's.
So let me ask you this, because you might know better than I do. So because last season we had 2 exhibition games, that wouldn't be included in the 13th as far as
Correct.
the 13th game, correct?
Nope. So it's so you get 31 total regular season games. Last year, Carolina was allowed to play 32 because games at Hawaii or Alaska don't count against your schedule. So 18 of those 31 are ACC games. That means 13 are non-con, and then you get 2 exhibition games against that don't count against that 31 because of some changes the NCAA has made. Those can both be against high majors now, and they can both be public. They don't have to be secret scrimmages anymore. And Carolina, I would imagine, is going to do an intra-squad scrimmage again this year. As a reminder, last year it was supposed to be down like just west of Asheville there was the terrible storm that forced that game to be brought back to the Smith Center. So I'm curious to see, A, if Carolina does inter-squad again, and B, where does that take place?
Gotcha. Okay, so now that you've cleared that up for me, like, listen, I know where to go and get all my news from, man. Like, I know who to come to. I know they know that he knows what. He's got all of the answers for me. So I look at it like this, right? I like the schedule. To me, and I'll start at the top. I think BYU is a statement game. I think if you go into BYU, or you go to Utah rather, and even though it's an exhibition game, I think if you win that game, it changes a lot of the talk that's going on out here nationally with the medias.
That's a good word.
I mean, it's a statement game. Go out there, and even if it's a close game, I mean, hey, it's still the fact that, hey, this North Carolina team is a little bit better than what we thought it is, Jeff Goodman. But no need to get into that or whatever. But I like that, and I think that's the statement game. Don't know who the other exhibition game is, and don't really care, because it's an exhibition game. A lot of these other ones, though, and I might be wrong, but Isaac, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have Carolina going 12-0 or 11-1 in this. I know it sounds crazy. Again, I jump off the ledge by myself all the time. It's all good. It's okay. It's okay. I'm used to it now. So, but when I'm looking at these games, right, I see Central Arkansas, Radford, Navy, St. Bonaventure, USC Upstate, ECU, and NC Central. Seven of those seven are given. I think those, like you said, bye games, right? But then as I'm looking, okay, I see Kansas. And I tell people all the time, Kansas has not been Kansas since their national championship. Like, if you go back and you look at it, Kansas has underwhelmed and underachieved their past 3 to 4 seasons. I mean, they spend all of the money to get all of these big-time players, you know, the AJ Stores, you got the Hunter Dickinsons, and you got the Zeke Mayos. And, I mean, you spend all of this money, get all of these players and everything, and yet they still underachieve. And they have underachieved since that. Like, if you go back, and that's one part where you look at the numbers for sure. You got, like, those numbers don't lie, right? So I got Carolina winning that, especially with Kansas coming to Chapel Hill, and they've beaten us quite a few times. Now, I'm not saying that Kansas is not going to be a good team or anything like that, but they're nowhere as near. To me, I think the team last year might be better than the team this year. They just they haven't been successful like that in the portal. Recruits besides Darren Peterson, they got Bryson Tiller, they got Flory Bandunga back. But other than that, what does Kansas have? So I see that a little bit different. I think Carolina prevails in that. Michigan State just lost one of their players or whatever. He's out for the season because of an injury that he just had. I forgot his name or whatever, but it's been blasted all over social media. But now he's out, and Michigan State, to me, are nowhere near as good as they were last year. They lost everybody. Akins, they lost Trey Holloman. I mean, they pretty much lost everybody. So I don't see them being as good as people think they are going to be, or whatever the case may be. So of course I got Carolina winning that game. Kentucky, I think we match up well with Kentucky. And at the same time, we don't know if Jaden Quainance is going to be healthy. But and that could make a difference. But I mean, other than that, we match up perfectly with Kentucky, and we got a lot more experienced players versus the ones that they have. That some of them are a little young, but you know, with Jasper and all of that, it's going to be a really good game, and it's going to be a tough one because it's going to be at Rupp. So I get it, I understand that. But that, if I picked a loss, that would be the only loss that I see. Ohio State, very mediocre, if you ask me. I mean, what is it? Jake Diebler, who's the coach up there? You got to see what he does. Got to see what he does or whatever. But I don't know how well that they've really done like that in the portal, or as far as the, you know, recruitment and things like that. So I just don't see it. And we as fans, we travel. So Carolina, there's going to be a lot of fans in Atlanta for the CBS Sports Classic. So, and they got to come a little bit further than we do. And then you got Georgetown, which I absolutely love because of the history between North Carolina and Georgetown, just from going back to the 80s with John Thompson, Dean Smith, the friendship that they had, the relationship that they had with each other and things like that. So I absolutely love that home and home. I think that that's incredible, whatever. And for that 13th game, I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's a top 25 team, and I think it's on the road just because of the fact we got so many bye games, and we know that HD loves a tough schedule. He loves playing tough schedules, and I think I think that's gonna be something that he assigns just because of the fact this schedule is nowhere near what it was last year. That was, like you said, a gauntlet last season. So, but I do think if you add another top 25, then that will really, on the road, that will really balance out this non-con schedule. And I think that just would be perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. The nice thing, going back to what you said about Ohio State, Zoe, their backcourt is fine. It's their front court that's really suspect to me. And I think the combo of Vasar and Wilson and Stevenson are just going to eat in that game. And so I think you just pound it inside. And let Kyan, while, as we were saying earlier, not a true point guard, let him get like 8 assists, just dumping it inside and go to work.
There you go.
Hopefully not needing a Pete Nance buzzer beater to send it to OT.
That's a fact. That is a fact for sure. So I will tell you this. I do know that Kentucky is on our schedule for next season for the CBS Sports Classic. So because that's the reason why we got Kentucky this year in the ACC SEC Challenge. So I do know that for a fact. That's already been kind of put out there as to why we get Kentucky. But yeah, I like 12-0, 11-1, depending on, and of course we don't know who that 13th team is, and I wish they'd hurry up and give it to us. I mean, but let me ask, who would you like for that team to be? If you had to pick a team, if they said, you know what, Isaac, we're gonna let you pick who on the road. And we're gonna let you pick the team that you would like to put in that spot. Who would you like?
Well, one of the fun things is, Zell, as you look at the schedule, right? We got a Power 5 right now. Carolina has at least one game against each of the other Power 5s. That's one of the first things I was like thinking of was maybe there's one of those Power 5 conferences we don't have a game against. But we got Big 12 with Kansas, Big 10 with Michigan State, SEC, Kentucky, Big 10 again with Ohio State, and then Big East, Georgetown. But that's where I would go, is because since Georgetown is kind of like a Big East right now, maybe a higher Big East team like Marquette or something like that. Go up to Wisconsin, take them on. St. John's would be hilarious. I don't think they would do that, but go up and play Ian. That'd be pretty funny. UConn, that'd be interesting. I think they're going to be back a little bit this year. So maybe something like that, like a higher Creighton, that'd be interesting as well. So just like a higher level Big East squad would be really interesting to me.
It's funny that you say that because I never looked at it like you did. And that's the reason why you're Isaac Schade. Like, I mean, you looked at it from a totally different perspective than I did, because I did not break it down. Like, there's a Big 12 school, there's 2 Big 10 schools, there's an SEC school. I never broke that down like that. So, I mean, that's just incredible, man. Like, I got to give you props for that for sure. So I will say this. I think it's either UConn or St. John's. The only I think it's more so UConn, to be honest with you. The reason why is because we know that Coach Davis every year he wants to play at Madison Square Garden. So let's get UConn and go back to MSG. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. We don't have MSG on the schedule here, so why not? I don't think it's St. John's, just because for the very simple reason you got the CBS Sports Classic. We'll be done. Everybody that's in on this schedule is in the CBS Sports Classic except for St. John's.
Yeah,
if you think about it. So I don't see them pulling out St. John's and playing them at the Garden. So let's just go with UConn. I mean, pretty solid team, like you said. They're gonna be back this year, so let's do that. Let's go back to MSG. I'll do that. I'll definitely do that. I would love that matchup for sure.
And I loved, like, I would also take a high, like, while I said like that, I'd also wouldn't mind like a high level mid-major. Like, I loved that home and home with Gonzaga about a decade or so ago. Like a Mountain West team, like Boise State would be tough. Clemson went and played a true road game at Boise last year, played San Diego State in the NCAA tournament. That'd be a good home and home. So there's some good options out there, man. And I'm just curious to see what it is.
Hey, yeah, I'll take you know what? I like give me another Texas team. I'll take, like, you know, a Texas Tech. You can give me Baylor.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that would be, but it's got to be on the road. I mean, if you ask me, we got too many home games here.
Yeah. Yep. And that's where the true road game at BYU helps too, right? It's a way to get a true road game without having to play a true road game. So that's kind of a neat thing. That said, I expect the other exhibition to be at home, whoever it is.
Yes. And not having it go against your record too. So you said, true road game and everything. So I'm with you on that. We on the right page. So I got one more question for you, and I gotta ask all my guests. Let's do over or under. North Carolina wins 27 games this year.
Regular season or total?
Total.
That's a great question. Okay. Non-con, not knowing who that last team is, I'll go 10-3 or 11-2. Let's just say 10-3 just to be safe. Looking at the ACC schedule, home only. Clemson, Florida State.
That ACC schedule can be very tricky just because we don't have dates yet.
We don't have the order of it, right? What are the Saturday, Monday turnarounds, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's say so 18 ACC games. I'm not going to go game by game just to be kind to everybody and not make them sit here and listen to me. Let's just go 14-4 ACC. So that would be if they're 10-3 in non-con, 14-4. That would be 24 wins, meaning if you can get 4 wins combined between the ACC tournament and NCAA tournament, it hits the over at 28. Man, heck, we've been bullish on the team. Let's go over. Why not? Let's live a little, Zell. I'm going to go over on that 27. I don't know that they blow by it, but I think they can get above it for sure.
Man, listen, I'm you know what? Today is a good day. I got somebody to jump off the ledge with me. Like, oh man, this is a great day. This is a great day because I have them winning 30.
Okay.
So I'm definitely taking the over. And again, I mean, when you look at the non-con schedule, of course, I got them 12-0, 11-1. And then in the ACC, I mean, of course, that's that. Let's see what you said. 18 games.
Got to go 2 Cal, 2 Georgia Tech, 2 Miami, 2 NC State, to SMU, Stanford, and Virginia. Home and home with Duke and Syracuse. Home only is Clemson, FSU. Louisville is going to be tough. Notre Dame, Pitt, Virginia Tech, and Wake.
So I'm going to go five losses. So that would put me where? At
13-5. Yep.
13-5. I'm going to go 14-4, like you said, on top of the 12-0.
So that's 26.
I said 26. Yeah, give me
game.
Yeah, because I think they clearly will get 2 wins out of the ACC tournament for sure, which would put them at 28. And then I think they clearly get 3 wins or whatever in the NCAA tournament, which would put them right at 30, 31. So yeah, I'm doing that. And then again, we don't know who that 13th game is either. So Yeah, give me the over. I'm definitely taking the over on that for sure. That's just how confident I am.
I like it.
I believe in it. I believe in them for sure. It's gonna be a great season. So looking forward to it. Listen, Isaac, it's always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure to have you come join me at the Zell Dome. I did a little bit of renovation. I've had some people on, they like, yo, man, you didn't leave me a key to be able to come in. I'm like, well, I mean, the locks have changed. I changed the locks on the doors because I'm doing I had to do some renovation in here, new backdrop and, things like that or whatever. It's still under construction, but it is what it is. But listen, I definitely appreciate you for joining me, man. And again, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Of course, it's always an honor. I always got to give you the praise and everything because you're part of the reason why I jumped into this space, man. So I'm grateful, I'm humble, and of course I appreciate it, man, for you inspiring and motivating me to be able to do this, man, and to also have you come on the show as well. So it's always a pleasure, my guy. Always a pleasure.
Hey, we're all in this together, man. A rising tide raises all ships. Let's keep trucking. Zell, I'm so proud of you and the work you do. It's great to be in this podcasting space together and to be raising up the Tar Heels, man. It's a true honor to do together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my man, Isaac Schade. And I appreciate everybody for joining. Of course, it's always it's what we say, Isaac. It's always a
great day to be a Tar Heel, baby.
To be a Tar Heel. It's always heels. It's so many things or whatever. So, but again, I appreciate everybody, man. And until the next time, Isaac, you know how we do it, just like you do. Peace.